Hello and welcome to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
And I'm Yorian Baumeister.
And we've got Rob in the booth. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Rob will be taking all of your questions, comments, concerns, and burns in the chat. Make sure to tag at Star City Games so he can see them and send his favorites over to us. Today, Corey and I are bringing you a show.
We are doing a show. You're right.
With all three formats that are commonly played right now in Constructed Magic. Basically, we couldn't really decide a single format to focus on because they're all in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it just sucks right now. Every format's so good. There's no way we can just narrow it down. It's really a rough time for Magic. I mean, it's a rough time for Versus Live when everything's so awesome right now.
So we wanted to bring you a show covering all three where we focus on the decks that Corey and I in particular favor across the three formats and essentially play it like a team constructed match.
Yeah, remember those? We used to have those. We could go to locations with them and we'd sit next to our buddies.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that term. Buddies?
Sorry, you'd sit next to your loose acquaintances.
Acquaintance?
People would be next to you. Like, in these chairs.
People?
I know you didn't sit with these Carnox chairs at the SCG Open that often because it was the feature match area, but it was kind of like this. You know, the lights were around you there, and
Lights? You mean the sun?
I'm leaving. I've had enough.
Yeah, this is what you're talking about, Corey.
This is too much to work with.
Yes, this is too much.
Do you know what he's talking about, Rob?
I'm just going to play the outro and get out of here.
Good call. Let's thank some subs. Let's thank some sponsors.
Okay, so we're going to be starting with Standard. We're going to move on to Pioneer in the second segment, and we're going to wrap up with Modern.
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing a deck that I like quite a bit. It has emerged recently as a variant on Naya Adventures after we initially had that sort of Naya Fury list come out as the default mode. This one a little bit different and one I like quite a bit. It is more token themed, and that's because of the addition of Clarion Spirit. And along with the Clarion Spirit, I think the really important addition is Jaspera Sentinel, a card I've long thought was underrated and underplayed in Standard. I think it obviously goes very well with Spirit, because you have all these extra bodies you can use to tap with the Sentinel.
Yeah.
You get mana fixing, you get mana acceleration. I think it is also very good with Showdown of the Scalds.
Yeah.
With Showdown, you just want more mana because you're going to be drawing all these extra cards. You want to cast them as quickly as possible, get those counters on your creatures. Now you've got some flyers that you can pump up that really came along for free. So if your opponent uses a removal spell on one, you're pretty happy.
Yeah.
So just getting extra mana with the Sentinel really ties the entire room together here. And I think makes the deck tick. We also have Toski, so when you're going wide, you draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah, Toski can be just dangerous in that deck. It was kind of a cool evolution that we saw. We went from the Fury versions, and then they did okay at League Weekend was the last major Standard event. They did okay, and then it was Reed Duke's Naya Adventure list that kind of became the best Naya deck there for a little bit, and now a lot of people are going to this to try to be a lot faster and try to close out games a little bit quicker, just because Sultai decks started emerging to beat that Reed Duke Naya Adventure deck just because it wasn't fast enough. So I do think this is a nice way to target the metagame right now that is kind of slowing down, naturally here.
Yeah, you need to get a little bit faster. It's been a sort of a reaction. We had those monocolored aggro decks that were dominant for a week or two, and the adventure decks are usually a natural foil to lower curve aggro decks. Lovestruck Beast is just so good against them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it ended up being that you wanted to be a little bit bigger to combat the aggro decks, but now that Sultai has sort of reemerged as it never really went away, but it declined a bit, and is now really back at the top or near the top, and the monocolored aggro decks have declined some. The Naya deck has to react and become a little bit faster as a result. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting. I honestly could talk about these kind of little metagame shifts in Standard all day. I love that kind of stuff, and I have been just playing spoiler, I'm going to be playing Sultai Ultimatum here. I have been just playing this and just adjusting with this deck a lot because I do think there's so many different ways that you can build Sultai that
and
it's
the core
cycling.
is so powerful.
Exactly, and the core itself of having a control-ish deck that you can also play as a ramp deck that has an I win button, that is a 1-card combo, I think is so powerful that, like, let's say cycling is on the up and up, which, you know, it won our SCG event last weekend, then you add Elspeth's Nightmare, you know, take the disputes from the main to the board. Like, there's these little changes that actually go a long way to try to adjust, and yeah, so I think it is still a great deck. I'm going to be playing Sultai. I added a new edition of Mythos of Aluna. That's a card that not a lot of people have been playing, but extremely strong with Azeka's Chariot. You know, being able to go turn 4, turn 3 Chariot with Wolf run, and then just like binding the old gods. Mythos, they're binding the old gods, or Mythos, their Lovestruck Beast, and then attack with Chariot, make a copy of whatever you choose.
Yeah, that's
even a land. You know, I mean, I was even copying lands to just ultimatum on turn 4. You know, like it's pretty disgusting what it can do sometimes. And at worst, it's just like make a copy of your best creature, try to block, or ramp yourself up for 4 mana and stuff. So it does a lot, and I think it's a pretty good addition to the deck.
Yeah, nice to have that kind of a versatile effect when you're trying to make all of these, you know, minute changes to keep up with the metagame. Mythos is a good broad-based card that can be relevant across a wide range of matchups. It's not going to do the same thing in each one of those matchups, but it's always going to do something relevant, and that helps you, you know, towards your own game plan.
Exactly. And now it does have a bad aspect. You play it against rogues, it's just not good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not good. You play it against a Dimir control deck or something, sure, you might get lucky and tag a Ugin or something, but those are the matchups it's bad, but you don't see a ton of those. So
yeah, good point. It's like it's not perfect.
It's not perfect, but it's close. All right, let's
Who
get
among us
is? Yes. All right, so I got you last week, so it looks like you.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah,
I basically don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Really? Okay. Well,
If Ross doesn't remember it, it didn't happen.
oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's my rule.
Okay, I wanna just black out January then, because that wasn't a good month for me. All right, how's your hand?
It is great.
Yeah, I think my hand is fine. I wouldn't categorize as great, but good enough.
Okay, I will lead on a Forest and a Heart's Desire, and that's game.
Yeah, all right, game 2. So we're gonna take a short break. All right.
Where's my adventure?
There's that, and I do not know where the
it's here.
adventure is. It's there. Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely.
Should be over on your side, wherever you all put the last
Okay.
Corey's fault.
Yep. When in doubt, blame Corey. All right, I'm gonna go with a blue land and pass to you.
Okay, I will attack for 1.
A 19.
I'm going to play a Boulder Loft Pathway
Okay.
and an Edgewall Innkeeper.
Not bad.
Pass the turn.
All right. I will draw. Not a heinous draw. I will just play a swamp and pass to you.
Doesn't kill the Innkeeper.
The inn can be kept for now.
Okay, I've got Needleverge Pathway, Lovestruck Beast, draw a card,
Draw a card, yep.
and get in for 2.
I'll go to 17.
Pass the turn.
All right, end step element. A land that we don't necessarily need, as well as a ramp spell that's a little late. We're going to bottom both of those. A draw.
Rampspell, it's late. Sounds like Wolf Willowhaven.
Yep. You nailed it.
Cultivate would be right on time.
Yeah, we have the cultivate, so. All right. I have this. Cultivate. Just thinking what kind of lands we want to get. Pretty scared. If I was on the play, this draw is perfectly fine, but on the draw, I can just get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, no interaction on turn 2 with the or turn 3.
It is pretty rough.
It does make me suspect a sweeper from Corey's side, so that will be certainly at the forefront of my mind for my play on turn 4.
Yep, I think these are the 2 lands I want. Yeah, that looks good to me, and then I'll pass to you.
And fortunately, we have a pretty good play into a sweeper.
How dare you?
We have Branchloft Pathway and
A showdown?
Azeka's Chariot.
Oh, okay.
Get ourselves some kitty cats.
You mean the Cadillac?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
You mean that.
Yes, I do.
I do not. Attack for 7.
All right, I'm done at 10.
So I've got lethal on board, and if Corey is a sweeper, I'll still be left with something in the Chariot.
That you would be.
And Corey wants to kill the Chariot. I still have lethal on board, so
This shouldn't be in the deck. That's the wrong one. A Triome, that is the wrong Triome. Maybe I typed in the wrong one. I don't think so, but all right.
There is one of those in the deck.
Really? Huh. Interesting. I guess it's... Yeah, I mean, I guess it is the same technically as the Teamer one, but...
Well, it's not a forest for...
Oh, no. Yep. It looks like that was my bad.
Okay, perfect.
So that should be a catch rate trial?
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be a forest for binding, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, what do we want to do now?
Must have misfiled in the wrong spot.
Well, you're fired.
We can't. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going
Welcome
to
to Versus Live, where nothing can possibly go wrong.
All right, so I'm just gonna go with a Zika's Chariot of my own.
Okay.
And I'm going to play that Triome, and then I'll pass to you.
Interesting turn from me now.
I don't like interesting. Thank you, good sir.
Oh, man. That was almost perfect.
I like almost perfect instead of perfect.
Yeah. Well, it would have been perfect if I had a fifth land here, but I don't.
Okay.
And that's a tilt.
A T? Afraid of a lot of things here.
Okay. Yeah, I know what I have to do. I'm going to play Clarion Spirit.
Okay.
I'm going to stomp one of your cats and get a spirit token.
Okay. Now I decide if I want to crew or not. Yeah, I better crew.
Okay, now I can use the Clarion Spirit, the new spirit token, and the Innkeeper to crew my chariot.
Okay.
And... yeah, this means that you have to block the Lovestruck Beast.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because this is 10.
Oh, okay, then I'm sorry, I can't crew. Then that'd be silly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So attack with everybody. If you're going to have to block here and go to 9, I'm just going to make another flyer.
Okay.
Because there's no point in having a bigger creature.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, absolutely. Okay, I am very dead.
Puts you to 1 and pass the turn.
All right. Well, I had a cool play next turn if I wasn't under this much pressure. I guess I just need a sweeper, which I don't have. Oh.
And even with a sweeper, like I have way to crew the chariot.
Yeah. No, I was going to have a nice play of Mythos and fight Lovestruck Beast so I can kill something else, crew, make a copy of Lovestruck Beast. That copy also gets to fight because it has the text on it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, wow.
I know, right? Yeah, I'd have the blue mana to do that.
Yeah. Get island, and then you have red, green, blue, blue.
And then I can foretell this, and then play it and ultimatum. So I was very close to destroying you, but a little far.
So you make a 5/5. You fight.
Probably Clarion Spirit.
And then you crew.
Yep.
And then you make another 5/5 and fight.
Innkeeper or a cat. Yep.
Yeah. And you're still
very dead.
One blocker.
But if I could do that a turn early, then I'd probably be sad. So AK, if I was on the play, I think I could win that game. But both of us just had excellent draws.
Yeah, I curved out beautifully.
The only thing I absolutely needed on the draw was just removal, and I had, instead of 2 mana removal, I had Omen of the Sea, and instead of Shadow's Verdict, I just had a Zika's Chariot. So not enough, but
yeah, and I know if that Omen of the Sea is just a Heartless Act or something, or to eliminate on the draw, you're probably in good shape.
Yeah, I think I would have had to just Heartless Act Lovestruck Beast too, like let you have the card.
Yeah.
Just because I win the long game, even if you have an extra few cards.
I was wondering if that was the case when you pass. Maybe that's just your plan of the matchup is to keep the pressure off you because your late game is so powerful.
I think that's what it would have been if I had it, but I didn't have it. So
a lot of people's instinct is to just kill Edgewall Innkeeper on sight, but this is a deck specifically that has such a good end game that I think keeping the pressure off you and just killing the bigger creature giving up a card or two is a reasonable line.
And I think if you are, that's a good point. If you are like a Naya Adventure deck or something, you kill the Innkeeper because that value will bury you eventually, and you can block and kill Lovestruck Beast. But, but having Lovestruck Beast being able to let you Great Henge as well is a huge liability, and even more of a liability than Innkeeper is usually. So that's going to do it for the first game here. Ross taking it down. We're going to head to the sideboard, and we'll see what we got for this matchup between Sultai Ultimatum and Naya Adventures. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back to Sideboarding here on Versus Live between Sultai Ultimatum and Naya Adventures. From my end, I'm just cutting the 2 main deck counter spells, not very good against a non-blue deck, believe it or not, and then cutting the 3rd Alrund's Epiphany just for some good removal. Sometimes I consider bringing in Gargaroth and Pelucranos, but the deck usually keeps in some Giant Killers, and if the exchange is ever I play one of these and then you Giant Killer and play something else, I just lose the game every time. So I'm not a big fan of bringing those in against these style of decks.
Yes, against the white versions, against straight Gruul, different quest.
Slap those in. Yep, that's for sure.
On my side of things, I am following the sideboard guide from the maker of the deck.
Smart.
They tweeted out, everything we're bringing in makes perfect sense. Raiden is definitely the star of the show here. Another Toski for more card advantage.
No, it's the star of the snow.
See you on Thursday.
All right, well, the marbles will be mine, it looks like, by default.
All right. Well, the subs we got for today were...
Come on, that had to have been at least C-. Okay, that's above average work for me.
The sad part is that is above average work for Corey.
No, that's what I'm saying. Corey set the bar so low, you can't get much lower.
Thank you.
It's not limbo, Corey.
That's why I've been living my whole life, is setting bars low so that I'm always either impressed or I'm not that let down.
Set the bar low, the Corey Baumeister story.
My book will be coming to paperback anytime this year.
You can find it anywhere where books are sold.
It was so bad it never got a hard copy version.
Yeah, exactly. Just like my brother's book. Oh, wait. Let's hope he's not watching this. Love you, buddy.
Okay, the last 2 cards coming in, these Draenith Magistrates, I don't think they're great in the matchup, but they do stop the Ultimatum.
Yep.
And so my goal with them is going to be to not run them out early and just wait until the turn before you're set to cast the Ultimatum and play Magistrate and throw you off in that way.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to just play it on turn 2 if I have nothing else, but hopefully that's the way things work out.
Fair.
Cutting a couple Giant Killers, don't need that much removal in this matchup, and then cutting the Jaspera Sentinels. I like getting underneath the ramp deck in this matchup, but post-board especially, you just have so much removal, and in particular sweepers, that undo the tempo advantage of ramping out. So we're cutting Sentinel here in this matchup, just becoming more disruptive, and hopefully that counteracts the fact that we're a little bit slower. So if we slow Corey down as well, then we have just as much time to close out the game.
Sounds like a plan. All right, Rob, do you got any questions from our lovely audience?
I do have a few here.
Okay. Do they have to do with good puns?
No.
Okay, we'll still take them, but...
Okay.
Or any of them from Bard Narson or FF Freak.
Or Mike Segrist, no.
Yeah.
The Blind Eternity wants to know, how do you feel about Dimir Rogues in the standard format?
Well, I played the standard tournament this last weekend. I played against the undefeated player in the finals that was just 9-0 with a Rogues deck. And it seemed like the 2 best decks for last weekend. I still think it is really strong, and I think its worst matchup of Mono Red is pretty much non-existent right now. So I think it's a good choice. I really do. But I personally tried to play it and couldn't win. It's not the kind of Magic that I play that often. So I was, believe it or not, making loose keeps and just was not playing optimally. But
Corey with a loose keep.
Yeah, and you cannot loose keep with Rogues. I'm like, on the draw, negate, double into the story 4 land, I'll draw into something. It's like, no, that deck doesn't work like that,
Yeah, the other thing you notice right now is there's not as many escape cards as you saw, 2 or 3 weeks in people's sideboards. And that's a really big thing with Rogues and its positioning in the metagame. It's not even necessarily what decks are around, save for really bad matchups like Mono Red or Rakdos, but really just how many escape cards are around. And the sideboard's not a lot.
Yeah, and even look at mine, the only escape card I had was just, 2 Pelucranoses I still just have a bunch of duresses, and I still think that's enough when you play 80 cards because it takes a long time to mill you, and if I can just duress and counter into the stories, I think the matchup is pretty close to 50-50 between Sultai, even without a bunch of clings and stuff. So I'm not super worried about it, but I do think Rogues preys on, some of the other decks quite well. So yeah. I think it's still a pretty good choice.
Agreed.
Yeah. You got one more question though, Rob?
Yeah, All Day 28K wants to know, how do you feel about mono white, and do you think they can adapt to playing in a Sultai heavy metagame?
Mono White showed up to counter a Sultai heavy metagame. So, this transition, I think, helps it. I think Mono White, didn't necessarily want to see a ton of Mono Red with all the cheap removal that they have with the Frostbites in the main now. Yeah. And I don't think, Mono White, it sort of depends on the style of adventures. It can do well against certain adventure builds, not as well against others. I think these Nihilists that can go wide and have a bunch of card advantage are problematic, whereas the more aggressive Gruul lists with Ember Cleaves and stuff, you have so much good removal in white, which is normally not the case, especially for white aggro, that you're happier with those builds. So there's kind of some good aspects of this metagame and some bad.
Yep. No, I'm totally with you, and I think you nailed it there at the end. The Nay Adventures matchup is just so bad. But yeah, white and mono red was like originally what pushed me off Sultai. I was so high on Sultai, like a month ago. I was just having the best time with it. And then mono red and mono white snow came in and just completely fun policed me. Rolling Vortex, Raidens, all these cards that were just so hard to deal with. Really make it tough for Sultai. And Sultai can adjust to be playing some stuff to help out. But yeah, I think mono white is still a very good deck, and it's the best aggro deck in my opinion still. I'm not a big fan of 29% red, so.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's, if you want to be a snow aggro deck, I would certainly side with white over red. But, you're never going to see mono white be as good as it was 3-4 weeks ago, right? It came in at a high when the metagame is really ripe for it. The metagame adjusts, it drops down, and now we're somewhere in the middle, which is a pretty typical evolution for decks. So, we're far enough into the evolution of standard where no deck is going to have a huge edge over the field.
Yeah, every deck's good. Yeah.
But if mono white, sort of every deck feels like it's 52-48 in some matchups, or 48-52 in some others. So
and then 29% for red.
Yes. It really just comes down to having the right tuned list week in, week out, and understanding the matchups really, really well right now. And so if you want to invest the time into white, by all means do that. But make sure you put the time in.
Exactly. And like Drannith Magistrate for adventures, play a lot of those. And if Rogues is really big, mono white is really bad. That's another matchup that really preys on mono white as well. So yeah, you just got to really focus on what you expect. And like last weekend, I really expected 2 cards to be unbelievable. I tested for maybe like 5 hours or something Friday night, and I just found that Elspeth's Nightmare and Disdainful Stroke were both just phenomenal. Like Sultai, Naya Adventures, and Temur Adventures were the 3 decks I expected, and that was kind of like the 3 most played decks. Stroke hits all of them very effectively, and then Elspeth's Nightmare is good against all but Sultai. And then just insane against Cycling, which was popping up a lot too. So you just gotta look like what the big 3 decks are that you expect and try to exploit the cards that are good against them. And maybe that means a certain deck other than mono white, but it also could just be mono white needing these specific sideboard cards.
More right ends in the main, and full 4 in your 75 could be right one week, could be wrong another week. Maybe you need some more escape cards to help against rogues in your sideboard.
And you could guess right and just be wrong. Like you could guess that you expect to play a lot of these decks, and these are going to be the most played decks, and then you just play against different decks. But that's the joys of Magic. All right, so I'm going to be going first. A card we don't love to see in our hand, but overall, this is a pretty strong hand, so I'll keep.
I will be keeping as well.
All right, I got a Triumph. Pass to you.
I have a Heart's Desire, and that's game.
And that's game again. Dang it, you're lucky, dude.
You're up.
Okay.
It is kind of uncanny how often you win with Terminal Heart's Desire.
It's quite good.
It's the inverse of trying to win with rogues on this show.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is it? What's cursed? It's rogues, and there's some decks in modern, right?
Blue-white control in modern.
Yeah, right. Azorius control.
Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Tron is cursed, but only for me.
Yep. Tron is blessed. I'm whitelisted with Tron, so I'll cast Valky on you.
Okay, I've got several options, though you might not like to see double Innkeeper.
No, I will take Craig Crown's Pathway, please.
I think you mean Timbercraft pathway.
Whatever. Whatever. I almost just want to take Radon, yeah. I mean, it's really good. If you top deck a land going Innkeeper into Lovestruck, that's also disgusting.
I agree.
But I just cannot really beat this card right now, so I'm going to take that, and I'll pass to you.
Oh, chat bringing up Ross and Aether Vial.
Yeah, there we go.
I've won with Vile decks before.
You've won with a lot of Vile decks, but when they're bad for you, they're really bad, which is pretty funny.
Attack for 1.
Yep, 19.
This is generally going to end with me dealing 1 and Corey dealing 2 on the other way back, but I think that's a fine trade for me.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, play Timber Crown, play 2 Edgewall Innkeepers, pass turn.
All right, I will play this land tapped and pass to you. Don't you do it. Yay! That's a defeated Ross. We like defeated Ross on this show.
Yeah, attack for 1.
I'll take it.
You go to 18.
18.
Play Heart's Desire.
Oh, yeah, I can't lose.
Play Heart's Desire.
Oh, my God.
Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. With the power of Shaheen, anything is possible. I will cast an Omen.
I'm running out both of them because if Corey has Extinction Event, he's going to name Odd and deal with the 2 Innkeepers. So,
I'm going to bottom those two.
if I get Shadow's Verdict into 2 turns, I can't win anyway. So,
ooh, that was an interesting one.
yeah, classic. Keep 2-lander on the draw.
All right, I have a Cultivate. I'm going to play this land tapped, search up 2 lands, and then it's going to be your go.
At what point on Versus Live with these human tokens does Shaheen see more camera time here than he ever has on any feature ban?
yeah, that's about accurate. Now you got it, huh? Okay, so
I think Shaheen has like 6 invitational top 8s, so we might still be a ways away.
Oh, I imagine we're still a ways away. I'm just wondering when do we make that intersection on the graph?
We're gonna have to get Nick Miller on that case.
Yeah,
that'll be his project. I need you to tally up all of Shaheen's camera time in the history of the SCG tour.
I'm sure he'd love to do that.
And then all of his camera time specifically as just a Lovestruck Beast Heart's Desire token.
Yes.
Not any other, like no Castle Ardenvale, just Lovestruck Beast.
Yep, I like it.
We hit the land here. Definitely going to play the white side, given that my hand has Felidar Retreat in it. Let's play Lovestruck, draw 2.
Sure.
And now with Corey in range of casting sweepers, I am just going to slam in with everybody.
And I'll take it.
Brings you to 13.
13.
That's actually a good sign that Corey doesn't have a sweeper. If he did, he would have just blocked.
You don't know my life. You don't know my life.
Yeah, but I know how magic works. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Only when he remembers to read Winota.
Yeah.
I was going to lose that game anyway.
Okay, what do we want to use now? Let's go with a land. And a Zika's Chariot. Get some kitty cats, and I'll pass to you.
Well, that's not good.
Does do a little bit of block in here.
Okay, I need, what do I need? Something that pumps my entire team at instant speed.
Okay, of course. You need Rally the Wings or something.
So, attack for 5.
Attacking for 5, eh? I'll block.
Okay, there are 2 options for Corey there. He could have chumped with a cat or crewed
And double
Chariot
block,
with
yeah.
Valky and a cat, double block and trade for the Chariot.
I considered it.
And now my only hope of winning this game is that Corey doesn't have a 2-mana removal spell, and this Raidan I just top decked actually works. So I'll play it and cross my fingers.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, no 2-mana removal spell.
That's pretty good.
I hope your hand is 4 ultimatums. And an Alrund's Epiphany.
All right, I got a 6-mana Binding the Old Gods.
Not great.
And I'll play a land. Now I could crew and attack and make a cat. I actually kind of like that, and then have a blocker. If you kill it, that's 8, 9, 10. Not likely going to die. So yeah, I'll crew make a cat.
Okay, I will take 4, brings me to 16.
Your go.
And now I have an interesting decision.
Okay.
I can just draw a couple cards here. I assume Corey has the ultimatum for next turn.
You know nothing.
The question is what he gets. Like, normally I would think this is a board on my side that Corey just wants to get a couple sweepers. Though that's an awkward thing to do with ultimatum because you just give the person both sweepers.
Yeah.
And it's just a 7-minute sweeper.
Yep.
So, and Corey has enough of a battlefield that he probably doesn't have to do that. So, I think he'll get one of the standard piles, like Valky, Alden's Epiphany, and something else.
Yeah, I'll probably get Valky. That makes sense.
Oh, well, is there only one?
Oh, no, I have 4. I play a full 4.
Sometimes they have two.
It's usually only one.
One now?
Sometimes there's 2, but
So, you'll get some, Cure Best the Sea God, sure. So, same thing. Some giant thing that, I can't ever hope to beat.
yeah.
And actually, I think in the face of that, I want to have a blocker back for Chariot so I can potentially give you Epiphany
That is
and
smart.
still have the Chariot not be able to attack. So I'm going to pre-combat a Lovestruck Beast and draw a couple cards
Okay.
rather than play one of the 4-drops in my hand.
Okay.
Because I did draw a land, but it is a forest, which is very awkward,
Yep.
as is this other
Nice
forest.
Celestia deck there, nerd.
Naturally draw every forest in my deck.
Yes.
But then I will attack with everybody I can attack with.
I'll block Lovestruck.
That's what I thought. You'll take 5, go to
Down
8.
to 8.
Pass the turn.
All right. You have called my hand, believe it or not.
You draw first, right?
Oh, I do draw first. Sorry. I have not looked at the top.
Yeah.
So used to doing that online where it does it for me.
Or it could also do Yorion this turn.
Actually, I do not.
I didn't even really think about
No
that.
reason to not do
But-
this.
Not really much I can do about the Yorion.
Yeah, Yorion wouldn't be the worst play, but not the best.
Yeah. Draw a card, make 2 cats, kill another thing.
Yeah.
Take another peek at my hand.
Instead, I will just cast Emergent Ultimatum.
Okay. What do you get?
I'm pretty sure it's Vorinclex, Kiora, all runs on this one. It seems pretty good to me. Yeah, that's the one. That's the combination I'm gonna do. Because now now it taps your blockers down. Where if you give me an 8/8, I can make copies of it.
Yeah, I don't think I can beat this.
Yeah, I think that's just whenever you're behind, you give that combination. It's like, okay, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So the problem here is that if I guess I basically just can't give you Cure Best of Sea God.
That usually happens.
I just can't ever beat this because if I give it to you with Vorinclex, then you tap everything down, make another 8/8 with the Chariot, and you might just have me dead.
Yeah.
You crew with the first 8/8 and attack for 10, 14. So yeah, put me to 2.
Yeah.
And have all of my things tapped down. And so I can't possibly win. And if I give it to you with Epiphany, then you just don't even attack with Chariot this turn, and you Yorion me next turn, and Blink and make another 8/8 that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you actually make 2 more 8/8s.
Yep.
So yeah, I can't give you Kiora Best of Sea God.
Makes sense.
Get you some birdies
All right.
and a Vorinclexer.
Okay, and now I don't want to attack with the Zika's Chariot, but I will get in there for 6.
And yeah, no good blocks for me there. I'm at 10.
All right, untap. Trigger, Death Touch after I draw. This has 4 counters on it, actually.
Yeah.
All right, I will start with another All Runs Epiphany.
And that will kill me.
Yeah. Oh, and then I have 2 more ultimatums. Yeah, I think if I was hitting 7 mana there, I had you. But if you had another Radon there on that last turn, I was just toast. Then the first one was already annoying enough, so I was like, please don't do it again.
I think if I hit my land on time, I might have a shot in that game, but it's still close.
Yeah, I think you definitely had a shot. that draw was nice. I mean, that's the nuts, right? Turn 1 Heart's Desire, turn 2 Double Edgewall Innkeeper into Lovestruck Beast is the Stone Cold nuts that deck can produce.
Yes.
You know, the
Welcome
nuts
to
for me
Adventures.
don't look as good. It's like, okay, Omen of the Sea on 2, like
Well,
Cultivate.
your nuts look good as soon as you get to 7 mana.
Yes, exactly. Then it's really good. Then it gets nuts, to be honest. But all right, Rob, do you got a question for us from our lovely audience here?
Yeah, I've got 2.
All right, what do we got?
First is a little. They're not about Magic.
Okay.
So we were talking about Sound of Silence for obvious reasons.
Okay, sure.
Ross.
Sorry, what are those reasons again?
Yeah, that you wanted Corey to be quiet? Or?
No, that Ross was
I mean,
tilting.
it's because Simon and Garfunkel is a really good band, right?
Well, yeah, that they were curious about your order of covers of it. How do you rank the versions of the song between like Disturbed, Simon and Garfunkel, and if you've heard the pentatonic version?
I've not heard the Pentatonics version, so
I
can't
do love
really
the
rank that
Disturbed
one.
version.
The Disturbed version is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I saw it live when I went to a Disturbed open for Rob Zombie show back in North Dakota. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, but it's such a. It's not the kind of song that I would, just listen to casually around the house because it's the kind of song that you really have to be present for.
Oh yeah.
So, so they're so different for me. It's hard to rank them. Like honestly, like the Disturbed version is, it leaves more of an impression on you. But as far as being, I value a song being something that is still great, but something that I can listen
on.
to, listen to more casually. And Simon and Garfunkel are so good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably give the original a slight edge, but the Disturbed version is
That's fair.
ridiculously
That's
good.
fair. All right, one more question before we shovel up for our third
All right,
game. There,
now
Rob.
an actual question.
Okay.
From Esteus. What do you think is the natural predator of cycling, and do you think people are going to start showing it respect now that it's shown up multiple weeks in a row?
Elspeth's Nightmare is it's the Rest in Peace to Dredge. It's the Grafdigger's Cage to Dreadhorde Arcanist. You just lose.
Yeah.
You lose when you play that
It
card.
literally
so.
does everything.
Yeah. So I think it is more a product of cards. I think cycling is a deck that never really changes. We did see some new versions, chunky cycling or whatever they're calling it, with like some Teferi, 4-mana Teferis, some different lists. Even the one that took third in the SCG looked a little different. But for the most part, the deck can't fundamentally change that much. So there's just sideboard cards that take it down. Disdainful Stroke, Elspeth's Nightmare, stuff like that just really hurt the deck. But Elspeth's Nightmare being the number one card.
Yeah, I mean, Corey hit the nail on the head saying that it's such a linear deck that every deck seems like it can adapt in some way to counteract it, and the keys are cheap removal for those early creatures and some way to stop Zenith Flare from just winning the game eventually.
Yeah.
Whether that's Disdainful Stroke to just counter it, Graveyard Hate to stop it from being effective, something like that to that effect. I don't think discard would be the one thing that you might think is good against that, but probably isn't because they have so much redundancy with all the cycling effects that they're going to find another copy.
Yep.
So you really need to stop the copy itself when they cast it or stop it from being effective with Graveyard Hate. So counter spells and Graveyard Hate to stop Zenith Flare, cheap removal to stop the early creatures. If you can do those two things, you're going to have success in that matchup.
And luckily, Elspeth's Nightmare does both. And it also takes a card from their hand. Like, when all three modes on Elspeth's Nightmare are good, and that card is literally, unbeatable.
And you can, blink it with Yori, and too. It's not okay.
Or copy it with Mythos of Aluna. Dun, dun, dun. Cycling is kind of reminds me of Dredge a lot. It's good in certain times when people are not respecting it, but then if people want to beat it, they can beat it. So, all right, let's get ready for our third game. This is not the best hand. Slightly awkward.
My hand is more than slightly awkward.
Okay.
It's another 2-lander, but this time I'm on the play, and it's just so many 4-drops.
That deck does have some 4s. You got some squirrels and stuff?
No squirrels, but I'm actually going to mulligan this hand. I think I'm just going to be too slow.
Okay.
I even have the right hand too, but
yeah, that is pretty slow.
It's just too slow on the play.
I think this is a close keep. It's not extremely powerful by any means, but it's passable. So I'm gonna keep. All right, one more question. Have you got one hanging around there, Rob?
Yeah, do you think there's a viable Esper control deck utilizing Kaya, or is it just too inconsistent versus the meta?
Yeah, I just don't think control decks are very good right now just because of Eldraine. You know, I mean, it's so tough to beat adventure creatures with control, and it's so near impossible to beat the Great Henge with control. You know, I'm sure Shaheen has some new Esper control list on SCG right now you can check out, but I don't know how great those decks are.
Yeah, especially when we have, a deck that is, 80% of as good of a control deck as they are, but has that ramp element to it. And we talk all the time about how important versatility is to make things hard on your opponent.
Yeah.
And, you're actually seeing it here. Like, I have these 4-drops in my deck that I need to try to play through the sweepers and the control elements. But if I draw too many of them, then it's not going to matter that I play through the sweepers. You're going to get to Emergent Ultimatum and win the game anyway.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. You really got to be a multi-dimensional deck that can attack the metagame in different ways, and control is always a one-way linear deck. Like, if you bring in disputes and duresses, that's going to be good against them. Where, this deck, it plays Azeka's Chariot on 4 that can get you. It plays Ultimatum that just wins on turn 7. So I think you just got to be a little bit more depth in your decks these days.
I'm definitely keeping my 6 here. The question is what I want to put back. It's certainly one of these 2 cards. You would think that I would put back the redundant copy, especially when these don't look very good right now. But this card also doesn't look good because I can't curve with it in any reasonable way.
Okay.
Because well, maybe that's not true. Yeah, like, in order to get any value out of it, I'd have to really slow down for no real reason. And I think there's just really high upside in keeping these. So I'm actually going to put the Spirit on the bottom.
Okie dokie. Let's battle.
See how this works out for me. I'll lead with Branchloft Pathway and Edgewall.
The Innkeeper. Oh, well, that was a great draw. Think with drawing that, I want to start with a Temple, a Scry. I don't need that land, and pass to you.
This could get really awkward pretty quickly.
Okay.
Sure that card's not named Aetherball?
I'm gonna make sure my mana is okay and just play a second Innkeeper and attack for 1.
Okay. 19.
Pass a turn.
Why do you have so many Innkeepers all the time?
That's because I don't have any adventure creatures.
Okay. That's not bad. All right, I have the very few-sided Tangle Florhedron. I'll pass to you.
Oh, wow. This is getting awkward now.
I like awkward. Awkward means you don't have a Love-Struck Beast, I guess. Okay.
All right, Dan. All 3 colors of mana, but
okay.
That is it.
Okay. I have... actually... it is non-creature, right? Okay.
Yeah. You can play a 4-mana creature.
Now, what do we want to do here? All right. I'm going to go with this and Cultivate. I'm going to get blue and black, I think. Yeah. Blue and black, we'll put black into play and blue into our hand. Pass to you.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
How do I want to play it is the question. Worried about sweepers, obviously, but I can put that worry behind for at least a turn. I'm going to play a 3rd Innkeeper.
Okay.
I'm going to stomp your Florhedron.
All right.
I'm going to attack for 4.
Okay.
Please tap. That one doesn't.
I'm down to 15.
And then pass the turn.
All right. That's scary.
What's really scary is Extinction Event.
I can't cast it.
I mean, in next turn, because I'm just going to draw 3 cards and put another odd out of the board.
That's fair. Yeah, I can't cast any of my 4-drops, so we're going to start with a Cultivate. So let's make sure we have everything. I think we're pretty set. So let's go with green. into play. And I suppose I get another land.
And then we got a land drop to make.
Yeah, I'm going to make a land drop. I'm not sure which one I want to make quite yet, but... So we're going to have 7 mana. Let's go like this, and pass to you.
You have a land from the previous cultivate that I know about, right?
Yeah, an island.
Another island?
Yep.
And that does not help you cast Emergent Ultimatum. You need a forest or a swamp to do that.
True that.
Interesting. Double cultivate, and you don't automatically have... You've got to have it, because if you didn't, you would have, set yourself up to find it.
Yep.
I'm going to start this turn by attacking for 5.
I will take it down to 10.
It was interesting to me that Corey would hesitate on what land to play, because in my head, he's just setting up to end step, kill Raidan, and then, Emergent Ultimatum, do his thing. Not really anything I can do about that, so I am just going to play Bonecrusher Giant and draw 3 cards.
Okay.
And then I'll play a mountain and pass the turn.
I apparently don't have 2 mana removal in this deck, so I don't have it right now.
Okay, so this could just be a sweeper turn.
Oh, it could be. It isn't, but... Oh, crap.
What is your hand?
It's not great.
You got 2 more cultivates?
So I have a Wolf Willow Haven.
That's fine.
Then
Into
I
like
have,
a Binding or a Chariot.
Then I have a 6 mana Mythos of Aluna without red, so I won't be fighting. Yeah, so which spell would I like to get? And I actually think I want to mess up your 4-drop, so I'm going to copy that. I got a Raidan, and I'll pass to you.
Well, that's a big tilt. Good job. Didn't have it last turn. Well, I mean, I'm just slamming and jamming.
Slamming jammas? Yeah. Do I want to take 6, 7, 8 and die to stomp? Not really. So I guess I'll block right on.
Take 7, brings you to 3.
Yep.
Okay, so what happens next turn? You have 4 cards in hand?
4 cards.
Okay,
so this one.
Yeah, so next turn you get to cast Ultimatum through the Raidan. You get to play a 9 mana one. So if that's the case, I just have to extend to the battlefield. So yeah, I will play Clarion Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I will play the 4th Edgewall Innkeeper. Get myself a Jadine token.
Okay.
And do I want to play this land? I don't think I do, because I'm not getting to the point where I'm casting this for 6 mana. I think if things get swept and I can cast it for 4, that's better. So I'll hold the land and pass the turn.
Well, I can't cast Ultimatum with Raidan in play, because you have to pay 2 for each additional spell as well. Every spell I search for.
Oh, yeah.
So I have it.
I remember your brother doing that. Yeah.
I need a 2 mana removal.
I guess
spell.
like you could just search for creatures. You can
I get Vorinclex,
I don't know,
Valky, and that's it.
And actually cast Valky. And
yeah.
I guess I don't know how many Florahedrons you have. You could get a Florahedron too.
Yeah, that's true.
Get yourself a free 1/1.
All right, so let's draw.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so lucky. That was so lucky. Okay, I'll eliminate here, and then I will cast a Merchant Ultimatum. When you're running hot, baby. I will cast that, and I will search. I gotta make sure this isn't me too, right?
No, it's
your opponent. Okay, all right.
They don't make symmetric K cards anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like the good old days.
The good old days. So I think I want to go with Alrund's Epiphany, Shadow's Verdict, and Velky. Normally I would want to do the Vorinclex play, but that is not an option. So I think I want to do that.
So the big question for me, well, there's two really. Question number one is, does Corey have a second Emergent Ultimatum in his hand? In which case, I don't think I can beat giving you the Alrund's Epiphany and letting you cast it.
That's usually true.
The second question, though, is, can I beat it if I give you these two cards?
I did forget to attack, so I did punt that. But
if I give Corey Verdict and Tybalt, I'm going to have no battlefield, and you're going to have this giant Planeswalker. You're going to have seen two cards off of it immediately. Then I'm going to take my turn. You're going to still have a bunch of loyalty, to deal with a non-land permanent.
Yeah.
And whatever two cards you see, and then you're going to untap and just play an ultimatum, right, while I'm recovering. So I literally just don't think I can beat a second ultimatum in Corey's hand.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Which means I'm inclined to just hope Corey's hand is bad and give him Alrund's Epiphany and Shadow's Verdict. Though, God, it's all
contextual to what I have. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that contextual. I just have to hope your hand is like really bad.
Sure.
And it makes so much sense for Corey to have a second ultimatum here with how awkward his hand played out over the previous few turns.
Yeah. I mean, this was still just unreal. I needed that, or I was just straight dead.
Like the Yorion is here too.
Yeah, that's always a play.
Which could be awkward. I just don't know. There's also the hope your hand is really bad and don't give you Verdict. Because if I need to hope your hand is bad, then I might as well just hope you brick for. You'd have to brick for 4 draws.
5.
5, yeah. Got card for turn 2, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'd have to brick on any sweeper or another ultimatum, which is estimating like 8-ish cards.
Uh-huh.
And there's probably some other combinations that could get it done, like Azeka's Chariot and some removal, something like that. God, it's so...
Yeah, this is tough.
It's very tough.
I'm much happier on this side, not having to make this decision.
So can you deal with 5 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you would really only need 2 things to survive the turn between those 5 draws and your 2. And if you hit 1 early on, you get even minus with the Valky.
Mm-hmm.
God, I just don't think I can beat any of these things. I really don't.
Clock. Judge. Frostmare slow playing against me. Good. That is the combination I was most afraid of. To be honest. All right.
Yeah, if I need to take the time to recover, it's just not going to work.
I think that's your upside of winning. If you don't have any creatures and I have the Tybalt, I think it was either that or don't give me Tybalt, where I think your best options contextually to my hand. Okay, so we each exile the top. I have this.
Okay, Showdown is actually fine because it's 4 mana to not affect the battlefield.
Yep. All right, I'll attack for 2 as well.
Yeah. I'm at 18.
Okay. On tap. To draw. I guess I can think about this because I could exile Clarion Spirit and then play it, and then play like Binding, and then I have the board stabilized. So that's 4, 5, 6, and then I also have 3 mana to play with. So I actually can play Showdown first in that scenario. Oh, because this is just your second. So I guess I'd have to play Clarion first if I wanted the token, and then Showdown. But then if I top deck like Shadow's Verdict or something, then it's pretty bad.
I mean, if you hit the Verdict, are you that mad at the lack of synergy? You're still just going to have...
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't get the trigger if I play this first.
Yeah.
But I do think it's probably more important to start with that to just see if I hit Shadow's Verdict. That doesn't allow me to cast Ultimatum if I were to draw that. But if I play this and then kill this, I would have 4 blockers to your 5 1/1s. And then I guess I'm just dead to stomp, huh? Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Yeah, so definitely no easy lines here. Yorion's not very good. Could just start by ticking up and seeing what we get. And then worst case, I can go Showdown to look for Shadow's Verdict. That kind of seems like the best. All right, we're going to spin it. Top one for you. Seagate Restoration. That's not good.
You want to cast that one?
No, not really. Not really. Okay, so I guess I want to thin my deck as much as I can first. So we'll crack that.
It's been an intense end to match 1.
Yeah, this is wild.
You couldn't have just gotten averagely lucky and not hit your like 6-outer.
Yeah, I was a 6-outer actually. Yeah, I kind of think I have to Showdown here and get a little lucky. 2, 3, 4. I think this is fine. And I have 6 mana to work with. To hope for the best. Yeah, all right. Chapter 1. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Oh my god.
That was bad.
That was bad. Well, looks like I will have to Omen. And then I can play Binding. And I only have 3 block. No, Binding doesn't even save me. So at this point, I have to find something off Omen.
Find Extinction Event?
I think I have to, yeah. Wow. This is not great. Or Zika's Chariot, maybe. That might keep me alive.
That's 5 blockers to... Yeah, that'll let you live it at 1.
Okay. Omen. Bottoms. No, I've wrecked on everything. I'm straight dead.
Nice. Wow. That was convenient.
You have anything?
I mean, I had a good follow-up, but when you made the right hand, I was finally set up to Felidar Retreat plus land, but I couldn't cast it. Yeah, so I didn't have much.
Well, then I punted, because realistically, that line kept me alive.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to get a little greedy.
I had my own right hand to then, protect me a little bit against an ultimatum, but at that point, you might have had enough mana to at least cast like one spell.
And I mean, I'm ultimating this, so I wouldn't be ultimating this because I'd have to kill Clarion Spirit. But yeah, I took the greedy line thinking I'd find something in the top 8 cards, and it cost me. I tried to play around Bone Crusher Giant. If I was at 4 and you could have only attacked me to 3, I would have for sure went for that. But I didn't want to just have myself dead to Bone Crusher when you just drew 3 cards, you know?
The funny thing, too, is
great game.
This Edgewall Innkeeper could have been on the battlefield a turn earlier.
Yeah.
When I played the Bone Crusher Giant, I had a land in my hand, this pathway.
Yeah.
And these were my lands on the battlefield. I could have played it probably as a white land, but left up green in case I drew the 4th Innkeeper or a Heart's Desire, but I really wanted to leave up white in case I drew one of the giant killers and then got to immediately draw a bunch of war cards in case you had a sweeper. So I took that line and drew the 4th Innkeeper as a max punishment and ended up leaving you at 3 and not giving myself automatically the out of a second stomp. But
yeah, and the whole reason I had to go for the Shadow's Verdict, this was in my hand, so if this wasn't in my hand, then I just go for Kiora, Vorin Collects, All Run, and I just get you in that pinch again. But yeah,
that makes sense. I should have been able to sniff that one out.
You should have sniffed that one out. Yeah, that's true. But wow, what an incredible game.
I agree. I thought that game was great.
That game was pretty great. I'll give you that. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, we are definitely past time for that. Great match number 1. That does it for Standard, y'all. Next up, we got Pioneer. I am just absolutely hopelessly addicted to casting Mythos, so I'll have that in my Pioneer deck as well for next round.
And I'm going to continue the aggressive theme. I'm going to be playing the Mono Black aggro deck with some updates from Call Time, in case you haven't been paying attention to Pioneer recently.
Tiago Saporito has been, pretty much paying his rent with, what Savannah Lions that are black. That's for sure.
I'll be paying my rent by winning the next match and getting some marbles. Because that's how we get paid. It's
your landlord accepts marbles as rent. That's pretty cool. I only pay in Trident Layers. So
I guess you probably haven't noticed because you haven't had the marbles for basically all of 2021. But that's our new pay structure. So I've been getting thousands and thousands of dollars.
You've lost 2 weeks in a row there, buddy. I don't know if you can talk too much trash yet. I didn't talk trash for a long time, but now that I got to week 3, I feel like I have a little bit.
Check the tapes.
And that's going to do it for round number 1, y'all. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with Pioneer here on Versus Live.